How dare you?
Seconds.
That's right. One was not enough. One episode did not sate the hunger and the thirst of the American public for Brian's, and thus we are back. The two Brian's. I am Brian K. Morris, writer, publisher, broadcaster, and former magician's assistant, and this lovely creature to my left, as you see it, or right as you would see it. I'm backwards here. Is the one and only Mr. Brian Rodman. Brian, please introduce yourself.
Oh, yes, my name is Brian Rodman, author and illustrator. Currently working on Memoirs of an Angel of the comic book fame, and also the author illustrator of The Nebulizer and many different works. Happy to be here. Excited. This is the second episode, my good man.
I know. And how many, like independent comics, how many of these get to the second edition? You know,
It's funny. I thought, like, because a lot of the podcast stuff started right during the pandemic, right? Like that's when a lot of things started. Everybody started having a podcast, and I mean, the Dastardly Dingoes, which is what I was a part of for a while, had that up. I mean, we started before the pandemic, but we really kind of found our groove during the pandemic, and the only reason that we stopped was because of my health. But a lot of people who started then are done now. Like, and I think that's fine, right? Like a lot of people didn't have anything to do during the pandemic, and now everything's back to somewhat normal. So, but you started. I mean, you were doing broadcasting though way before the pandemic, right?
I started just right after Facebook Live came out, which has been about 7 years. So yeah, I've been at this a ridiculously long amount of time, and I know what you mean because I follow a lot of videos on YouTube dealing with, shall we call them, differently abled mentally people. Basically, the ones that believe that we'll call them sovereign citizens, First Amendment auditors, that sort of thing, which is a subset of people who think that the rules are bogus as far as traffic laws and taxes and things like that.
Oh,
and
yes.
And so, they're finding that despite their, you can flap your arms all you want, but you still can't fly to the moon. And these guys are like going to prison
Says
now.
You, Brian.
Yeah. Nobody tells Brian Rodman what to do, my God. Screw you, gravity. But so I like watching these things because I still have a highly developed sense of Schadenfreude, and but I've noticed a lot of these communities that built up, and a lot of this was just before the pandemic and really solidified during the pandemic, and a lot of them are going their own way. Either some of the people just lose interest, or they realize that there's the dead horse and there's all my bruise marks on it. Right. Or just the natural entropy of all things that go on. But the fact is, we keep going. This community of ours, this Rising Tide thing, keeps going. So,
well, I mean, you think about like Rising Tide, and then like Nita Lanning and that whole group. Like, it just I'm glad that there are people that stuck around. Honestly,
I am too.
Yeah, because I think this is like, for me, I'm homebound most of the time, or really unless I'm going to a doctor's office or something. And so like social media, for better or worse, is kind of my only real way to be in touch with people that I love and care about. And so this comic book spectrum, who knows, maybe eventually Jeremy and I and Chad will get back together and do Dastardly Dingoes, but
I love that.
It's just a way to be in community, for me, because unless somebody comes to my house, and even then, like I'm just most of the time I'm not doing well. So
Right.
it's hard for people to come see me because I can't talk. They'll come over and I'll be like, so I'm doing so well right now, everyone watching, because I got my asthma shot yesterday. And today is wonderful. Today's been great.
Yeah.
My allergies haven't even been that bad today. Yesterday they
That's
were brutal.
great. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine because now since you started succumbing to this, I keep an eye on the pollen count now.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is. In my own post-COVID escapades, I'm now that AQI gets checked every day before I go out because I have my issues too. But that's what I get for being elderly and live this long. But anyway, but no, I've become quite sympathetic to your plight, and I check these things. But yeah, I understand that. And you mentioned social media that, the big, you probably heard it too, that especially before COVID, that, the people you see on here aren't real friends.
Oh, I used to say that.
I did too, to be honest,
because I believed it. I mean, like, because most of the people that were on social media that I interacted with, I already knew in person, right? So, like, there were very few people that I didn't know in person that, and then that changed. Really, that changed when I started really getting involved with indie comics. That was because I started networking online. I started getting to know people, meeting them at shows, and realizing that we were already friends.
Yeah.
And so this whole, people who say that they're not real friends, they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, my goodness, folks, when Brian and I met for the first time, we had known each other for what, a year and a half or so already.
Yeah, a good long time.
And you had to censor our love. I mean, my goodness, it was, our wives were rolling their eyes and a little jealous, to be honest with you.
It was two Brian's, one cup, pretty much. The whole weekend.
That's gross, but accurate. So
I wish that either Cookie or Robin had their cameras out when you and I saw each other in the parking lot behind. This is going to sound terrible, in the parking lot behind the Holiday Inn Express.
Well, Robin did. She got a picture of it. Well, the picture of our first hug,
our embrace.
And then of course the staged embrace.
There was
inside.
that.
Yeah, that was fun.
But I'm thinking of that moment where Cookie and I were walking up to the back door of the building, and you and Robin had just gotten out of your car, and we're just kind of looking at each other and like, oh,
it's him.
It's him. And you and I did like this, literally a slow motion run across the
absolutely. Like I heard Chariots of Fire playing.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
Yeah, and I wish I had more hair, because I was thinking like those old Breck commercials or something, with my hair flowing majestically behind me.
Well, I think you had your fez on already.
I did have my fez on. That's right.
So, I mean, I immediately saw you. I was like, aha, it's him. Let's go.
Yeah. So, people think I just wear this thing on for the broadcast.
Honestly, I had to say, I thought your head was just that shape. And then I saw
it. Kind of a point, but thank you for not mentioning that.
Yeah, it's like aliens. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ancient Aliens is probably the best guilty pleasure of mine ever. I mean, don't get me wrong. I buy into some of the conspiracy theory cryptid stuff. Like, I believe Bigfoot exists. Do I believe everything that they say? No. I think there's something, right?
Yeah.
That people are legit seeing, and there's experiences, and sure, but I mean, I don't believe most of the things that are on that show. But I mean, maybe, maybe, but probably not, right? Like, but I need to hear what those ancient astronaut theorists have to say, because I eat it up. It's so much fun to just entertain it.
Yeah, it's like a lot of things. I don't disbelieve. I keep my mind open to the possibilities.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
But I don't like throw myself headlong under the bus of illogic for so many people do, unfortunately. But it makes them happy. What the hell? But
oh yeah, I mean, for me, as long as you're not unhealthily obsessed with it, then it's a problem. Then I mean, like, you can believe whatever, I think, but like, I mean, unless you're like, I don't know, unless you're crazy, then that's a problem. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like a lot. I mean, my father-in-law, God rest his soul, was a conspiracy theorist, sort of. You know, he believed in some things. Now, one time I told him, I was like, I mean, what if it's true? Like, what if everything is true? What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so I think it's fine to believe that stuff. Just don't
Yeah.
obsess over it. You know, don't make it control your life, because that's when things get messy.
Yeah, I used to follow what they used to call TIs, targeted individuals, and they were usually these people that lived. Let's just say the level of lifestyle was about. It would have made like the Unabombers' lifestyle look like, you know, a palatial mansion, that sort of thing.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, there were some places that had podcasts about this, and all these people who like live in, say, Bug Tussle, North Dakota, and they're convinced that every airplane that goes across the sky is leaving chemtrails just for them, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they all get together and compare notes about how the government is pursuing them. And one night, I wasn't there, but I heard from a friend of mine that also checked these out. Somebody's, they had the chat while the main, podcast was going on. And I thought about doing this. I thought, no, this would be cruel even by my standards. But somebody got in there and said, how do we know the government's not watching us here? and I was told that the effect was like going into your kitchen or your bathroom and turning on the light and watching all the roaches scatter.
I mean, yeah, like it's it's funny. Like there was, I don't remember who it was I was talking about, and we were talking, or who I was talking to rather, and I was telling him, I'm like, look, like if you think the Illuminati is behind everything, and everybody's being watched by an FBI agent.
Yeah.
I mean, I always go back to like, well, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like,
yeah.
So like for me, I've even said, because we're writers, we search some crazy stuff on Google. So like one time I even said, I was entertaining the thought, and I said out loud to no one, I said, hey, look, FBI agent, just so you know, I'm a writer. I'm not a terrorist. I'm not a, I'm not a serial killer. I promise. And it was, I kind of chuckled afterwards, but I'm like, I mean, that might be true. Somebody might be listening to me. I don't know. But I have nothing to hide.
Just because the black van pulled away from the curb at that moment, that's just coincidence.
I have a neighbor whose Wi-Fi is FBI van. And I think that's one of the funniest things in the world. It makes me laugh every time I see it.
Oh God, that is funny. I have to wonder about these people, but then I feel better about myself after doing so. But I always do Google searches on the weird stuff I research with writer's research.
So you cover yourself. I don't do it. I just straight up Google search the thing, and I'm like, if somebody sees this, they're gonna think I'm a crazy person.
Oh God, yeah. Especially what does cryptids and handheld explosives and getaway vehicles have to do with the same thing? I tell people this is my imitation of my NSA agent.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, what are you doing?
He's at it again. I'm gonna have to write a report about this.
Oh man. Oh, I don't know how many reports I have. My goodness. Well, we have some comments finally, don't we?
Yes, we do. We've got quite a few, but we haven't thanked our people yet. We haven't thanked.
Oh, yes.
We must do that. It's been almost 15 minutes into it. That's how much fun we have. We hope you're having fun too. If you're watching us on the reruns, we love you too. Please leave us a comment. Let us know you watched this, and we'll try to respond to you, and not just the way my NSA agent does. But anyway, we are brought to you as always. And Brian, I gotta get a card from you about this.
I know. I actually. I started making it up and I got distracted. So we'll have it next time.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yes.
All right, that's cool. But anyway, here's my list of people that support the Rising Tide through Patreon. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly with an affordable monthly stipend. And even $1 a month will get you like a blog from me. And soon we're going to be serializing the sequel to a certain book. Which, by the way, I just finished chapter 24 today.
Holy crap, that's awesome! How many? What's your word count? Do you know?
Well, I'm going for. See, I give myself a formula which helps me keep things in line, and for the most part, I try to stick to 2,000 maximum, 1,500 minimum.
Okay.
And so everything's coming in at around 2,000. So figure I've got about 48,000 words so far.
Nice.
Yeah, and
nice.
it is coming together, and I have been told by various people that live with me, for one, that I am what's the term she? Oh yeah, sadistic bastard. Because I put they say kill your darlings. Well, I'm giving it a good shot with this one.
It's funny with Memoirs of an Angel. Robin is reading it. We have a book club that we do
nice.
once a month, and she's reading through the manuscript. Last time we were all reading together, I could see her reading it, and I just see this. What? Yes. And I was like, yes. So that's the reaction I wanted. Yep.
Yeah, that's when you know you're on target there.
Exactly.
I got the same thing. Well, I tell people the best review I ever got was a friend of mine who read Santa Sign, and I said, well, "What'd you think of it?" And he just it was everything you said it was.
Excellent.
And I laughed out loud. I don't think it was the reaction he was anticipating. But anyway, Patreon is a wonderful thing. And my friend here has a very active Patreon with some wonderful essays and lots of his chef's kiss art, And so please check out what he does. Check out what I do. I'm Patreon, www.patreon.com, and then follow it with Brian K. Morris, all one word, all lower cap. And I think you're Brian Rodman, all lowercase.
I am. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's same as just replace Brian Rodman, all one word, lowercase.
There you go. There you go. But check it out. It's a great way to support the people whose creativity you appreciate directly, and you get stuff in return. And speaking of this, and speaking of serializing this, we are brought to you by the guy who drew this, Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics. This guy does fantastic work over here. So does Jeffrey Hayes. And if you go to his Facebook page for Plasma Fire Graphics or to plasmafiregraphics.com, you're going to see a lot of great examples that will teach you that, yes, you can judge a book by its cover. And Jeffrey is easy to work with, and he's got that wonderful indie creator-friendly pricing that you will appreciate. And he's a joy to work with. And also, he and I are both up for awards for this book, the Pulp Factory Award, which the voting closed yesterday as we are taping this tape. How stuck in the 70s am I? But anyway, Anyway, we got a number of people saying that voted for Jeffrey, vote for myself, to which we both thank you. But if you want that fantastic artwork on your book and all the graphics you need to sell it online, then get a hold of Jeffrey Hayes at plasmafiregraphics.com. Plasma Fire Graphics, and the look of your book matters to you because it definitely matters to your readers.
Yep. Covers are huge. Like, I mean, you got to think about it. If you're an indie author right now, and you like your cover, especially if you don't have illustrations, if you're not an artist, I mean, your cover has to sell the book from the get-go. I mean, yes, if you're at a show, you can talk to people, whatever. But if you're at a bookstore, if you're, promoting online, whatever, that front cover is what's going to grab people. It's got to represent your story well, and it's got to be something that someone sees and they're like, I have to check this out.
I have to know what's in there. Yeah.
Jeffrey Hayes does that. His art, I mean, every time he posts, I have to stop and see it because it's phenomenal. So there's not, I mean, I'll tell you this, and as a cover artist myself, there's not a better cover artist in the indie circuit than Jeffrey Hayes, in my opinion.
I agree.
I mean, he's the best. He's so good. I've said it before. He's the Alex Ross of indie covers. I mean, really. Yeah.
Yes, and I will say one thing, which will probably segue to something Brian and I will rant about.
Oh, here we go.
Before the end of the night. Yeah. That's kind of a given. This isn't that segue, though.
Yeah.
But Jeffrey does not use AI at
yes.
all. He does not. He has a palette of tricks and sorcery, especially when he gets so much done under the light of the full moon. I don't understand it. I don't ask questions. But no, he does not use AI. And that
Witchcraft.
Yeah. Yes, dark sorcery.
No, he's posted some videos of how his process.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
How good of a painter he is.
He really is. Yeah, and so like stuff like this, and like Major Marjorie, for which he won an award last year. That's all Jeff. That's all Jeff, and he's an amazing talent, and we're blessed that he is our friend. So, but anyway, I am rooting for Jeff to win. You know, I like all the artists that were nominated for cover of the year, but I want my friend to win.
Yeah, I voted
even more than I would like to win myself.
Well, full stop. I voted for you. I voted for Jeffrey, and I voted for Charles.
Excellent.
All three of you guys that were up for awards.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
appreciate it. So we'll find out the results of the voting soon. So, or actually, no, the results of the voting will be the first Friday in April.
Is that the ceremony?
Yeah, it'll be about 8:00 at the Windy City Pulp and Paper Show, which unfortunately I will not be able to make.
Oh,
man. I have a prior commitment.
Yeah.
So I will be sending a proxy probably with one of my speeches, and you can imagine how those go.
Yeah, well, hopefully next year you'll see another Brian in the running as well.
Oh, I hope so. I sincerely hope so.
Yes, so we have some things coming.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. So anyway, would you like to get to the comments first, and then we'll launch into
the
subject? Yeah. And let's see. Here we go. Oh man, we are loaded with people. And hello, good evening, Brian and Brian from Facebook user. You're our favorite. Thank you for being here first. And Todd McFarlane. It's a joke since
Todd McFarlane.
I like it. How you doing, Ted? Ted, it's been a long time since we talked. I hope you and the missus are doing well. And I thought this was Kelly Austin. How the heck are you both this evening? I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. This is not the first time today that I've talked to Kelly. So there we go.
Yeah. Kelly has got her Atomic Press imprint going, and she has relaunched her Bishop Kincaid book. Also with the cover by Jeffrey Hayes, and she's got Atomic Stories coming out soon.
Yep. And a couple people are attached to that project too.
Yes, we are. So, and confirming it, Kelly Carlisle is there. Hello, my two favorite Brian. Glad to see you here. And greetings from the prairie. That's Mark Leonard. This gentleman here is also a writer, and I've known Mark since 6th grade.
Oh wow! Yeah, that long.
Yeah. Somebody's still in the midst of being friends with me after all this time. And Mark, hope you and the family are doing well. Love you, man. And hey, if you want to make sure, pop on over to the StreamYard page on Facebook. I get you have to do it every so often. Just go in there and then come back, and your name will be emblazoned in this forever.
The Facebook page? I don't remember. It's been so long. Okay.
Yeah. And there we go. We got Dawn Dulles. My evening, Brian's. Hello, Dawn. Hope you're doing well. And everyone's saying hello to each other. And Dan Hallfield, good to see you, my friend. Hope all is going well. And we've got Sarah tonight. So we know the place will be on fire. It's going to be
a good show, everybody.
We're on it now. And OMG, I raced here after working at the AMC. Got an Amy Hale with
I haven't heard that in a long time.
I haven't either, but every now and then somebody will talk about the Hale Pail or the pod catheter. So, yeah.
How is she doing? I haven't talked to Amy in a while.
I haven't talked to her in a while either, but I check up on her. Her son got married recently.
I saw that. Yeah, she doesn't. Well, she doesn't do shows anymore, right?
She's not doing as many, I don't think. I'm hoping to see her at Eclipse Con, which will be the first weekend in April. Please come see it. Or May, rather. Please come see us. Because we will not be the only heavenly objects who are roaming around Carbondale, Illinois.
And this is the first time we've talked about it, so we may not do this at all. But if we ever felt like interviewing people, we could just put them between two Brians.
I don't know how comfortable you.
What a strange way to say welcome to the show.
Suddenly all the questions go like this.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we're out. Okay.
I bet we can get Sarah. How would you feel being the meat in a Brian sandwich here?
I'm sure she's already thought about it, Brian.
God knows I have. But anyway. Did I say out like my Freudian slip is showing again? Anyway, we're glad you're here, Sarah. We love you. And Brian Rodman, says Kelly Austin. There are legitimate archaeological evidences which doesn't exactly for the scientific belief. Some things should be investigated and researched with an open eye, but most of the ancient astronaut theory is total nonsense, literally. Case in point, any works written by Zachariah Sitchin. I have not read.
So here's the thing. Yeah. I currently am reading one of his books. And
really?
I'm not doing it because I think it's legit. Mostly a lot of this stuff, what got me started watching Ancient Aliens and all that stuff is research for books. Right. Primarily Memoirs of an Angel, the upcoming Eula McDowell series that'll be coming out after this first Memoirs book. Right. A lot of it has to do with cryptids. A lot of it has to do with Nephilim stuff, giants. So that's like prime territory for those types of things. So I'm reading his, I forgot which book it is, but I have his currently, and it's bonkers stuff. But I don't believe his like conclusions are legit. But I do think a lot of his research and a lot of the guys who are on Ancient Aliens, they go back to a legitimate source. A lot of it is ancient texts that a lot of different ancient cultures that are saying the same things. There's something there. I've done a lot of research from much more legitimate scholars over the years that talk about the same things, mostly from a theological perspective. Right. But I don't take Stitchin's work seriously in that regard. I'm curious, and it's fun to think about, and it's good fuel for writing. Really,
it is. It really is. Yeah, and I was in high school when the Eric von Daniken books came out. Chariots of the Gods. I'm not familiar with
that. Oh, okay, yes.
I know that was like the Mac Daddy, the OG of the movement here, and that's where we first learned about crop circles and things like that. And the first book was spellbinding, and you're like, it makes compelling cases. Second, then the third is like, well, remember that thing we talked about? It's still true. And then like the fourth book, it's like all that stuff we talked about, it's still true.
I need another paycheck, so read this again.
And you're like, just saying it over and over, Eric, doesn't make it true. It's like, if you didn't get him with the first book, you never will. And that. And if he wrote anything past that fourth book, I have no knowledge of it because I checked out about then. So.
Yeah, I think with a lot of, because I've researched a lot of, read a lot of, I don't know, research is a very heavy term. I have studied a lot about Christianity for about 20 years now, and read a lot of scholarly works. Right. Spoiler alert, about half of the books are actual meat. The rest of it is fluff. It's fluff for the publisher because you have to meet so many pages, you have to meet so many chapters, and so they reiterate over and over and over again, and they
otherwise it's like, okay, here's all the stuff I've got on it.
Exactly. So and a lot of here's a free tip for folks who are trying to do some research in whatever topic. Find the author of books that you want to read. It's not available at the library, or if you just don't want to read it, go to YouTube and type in the book title name. They give interviews about the book. They give lectures on the book.
Yep. Good
you don't have to, and all the main points that you need to know are in the lectures. The rest of the book is just extra stuff.
Yeah.
So I've done that for years. Yeah,
exactly. Good tip there. Good tip. And Dan Hollifield thought Bug Tussle was in Kentucky. It was, but they moved it because they couldn't keep up with the franchise fees on that. So, come to us for the truth. And
I'm sorry, that was funny. funny.
And the thing is, I can do that with a straight face. I can just lie all the time. So Sarah goes, well, the authorities will be out for a certain workplace for illegal practices by snails. It's just been insane. Glad for some laughs right now, but we hope we can provide some. We're having a good time. We hope you are too. And here we are, Russ Braun, the comic book black belt himself. Russ, it is good to see you. Russ is a British artist. And he has been drawn for years the adventures of the Doctor in Doctor Who magazine. And he is currently doing a beautiful, and I wish to God DC would print it in this country, comic book of Batman. And right now, he and Randy Zimmerman, and in fact, there is a crowdfunder going up on Luke Stone's site right now for the adventures of King Kull by him and Randy Zimmerman.
Nice.
And Randy colored it as well, did the scripts, and Russ provided the chef's kiss moi.
What was the other the Arrow published, Arrow 4.0?
Oh, Only Death Can Save Us.
Man, that's so good.
That's a great book. I totally love that book. Yeah,
such a good book. Yeah,
and this is the genius behind it. I yield to no man in my admiration for Russ. It's good to have you here, Russ. Hope you're entertained. It's good to see you. And I got to get back on Randy's show one of these mornings. And Kelly goes, but Ancient Astronaut Crap can turn out to make a pretty good book. Yeah, see? Yeah. Kelly knows. Yeah, Kelly knows. Now, Sarah has a question for us. There's one question I always like to ask writers. What search would alert the feds to open an investigation? Many have more than one rolling on the floor. Explosives is a good way, I have found.
Yeah.
And I've
researching how... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, if you put schematics for a nuclear bomb, not that you should try it. This is where the disclaimer comes in. Do not try this crazy crap because you don't need the grief. Okay. But yeah, anything involving nuclear bombs and germ warfare. Or
anything terrorism based.
Yeah, terrorism based.
Or mass shootings. Anything like that. Anything remoting that would probably ping you. You would get a red flag. Now I think these are really smart people. Don't get me wrong. All jokes aside, I'm sure some of my research has been pinged, but it doesn't take long for a professional to realize this is a writer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between, because these guys, they have access to Facebook pages. They have access to all these things. I can easily Google somebody and find out enough information about them. They're professionals and they have override access on the internet. So if you're a writer and you do research some of that stuff, don't worry. Unless you're actually doing something shady and then you need to get caught.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And then some. And actually, if you want to do it, there is a way you can do it without the feds finding you. It's called a library.
Yes, that is true. Don't have a paper trail.
That's right. Yes,
or a digital
paper. You leave it in the building.
Yeah.
Yes. So just no, I'm not going to do any more because I'll wind up on another list.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's not give people ideas.
Yeah. All you stupid people, just ignore the last 5 minutes of this the show, please. And Sarah is so glad to be among your tribe. Well, we are your tribe, sweetheart. Yeah, we are. It's always a pleasure to see you. And everyone's saying hello. And more likes than watching right now. You guys are rocking. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Yes, nice. Please. When you see us, please give us a like or on whatever platform you're watching us on. Or and also, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe because it helps me with the algorithms. And Sarah, you can type in any term and get a door knock from the FBI. No, the thing you should do is go to somebody else's computer. Anyway, Kelly, I always know the best shows and movies are the ones with the most warnings. And speaking of this wonderful genius of a man, Charles F. Millhouse, how are you tonight? StormgatePress.com. Always glad to see you here, and good luck in the Pulp Factory Awards. Seriously,
Charles was at Lexington Comic-Con this past weekend.
Yes, I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I couldn't make the logistics work out.
I wasn't there because my health was in the poo-poos. But but Robin was, and Robin said that he stopped by the booth, and thanks for saying hi, Charles, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, and Charles and I will be at Pulp Fest in Philadelphia later this year.
Philly. Make sure you have a cheese. Make sure you have a cheesesteak.
We are. Well, the thing is, where the hotel is located, there's like this row of wonderful restaurants. And what was the name of the one he Charles and Marianne Millhouse and I went to Burgertory.
Oh, really? I've never heard of it.
Burgertory. Yeah, I hadn't either. But they have like signature burgers like you would at a Red Robin or anything. Cooked fresh and everything. And what was really, and their fries are fantastic. They seasoned fries. And they had milkshakes to die for. And the great thing was with the milkshakes, you know, they put all the ingredients in the metal can and they put it under the mixer and everything. Yeah. And they pour it out and they decorate it. What they do is they bring the can out too. Nothing goes to waste except mine. Yeah.
Diabetes intensifies.
I know. You want to come visit us in Philadelphia? We're going to be there 4 days. So, yeah.
No, I can't because I'll be in a coma afterwards. That's why. I got stuff to do.
I was going to say, I've got a bed in the back of my van, but and I just wound up on another list. Anyway,
I've got a bed in the back of my van.
I do.
And free candy and puppies.
Yes, we do. That's right. And free Wi-Fi. And yes, you're correct, Sarah. If someone checked out Kelly Carlisle's internet research, someone would arrest me. Yeah. Be careful of that cavity search. Remember, don't say anything till you have your attorney nearby. And everyone's saying hello. And we have the lovely and desirable Michaela Jade. Hey, mwah, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. This lady, I'm privy to a project that she is involved with. And it's, if you have not read Michaela Jade's work before now, you need to fix that. She serves up her love with a lot of spice. And she's got some cool things coming down the pike that everyone's going to want to be aware of. And Kelly Austin says, Charles, glad you're here tonight. And Charles is glad to be here. Well, we'll see how long this feeling lasts. And everyone's saying hello, hello, hello. And Kim Cox says, AI is for chumps. Thank you very much. Yes.
That's
Kim,
right.
You said it for us. Excellent. And Austin says Todd McFarlane can bite my goodie bag in an unflattering and vile way. Well, and we hope we're there to get the camera. And Jeffrey is working black magic, says Charles.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I would be surprised because he's such a nice guy.
He is, really. That's how all the serial killers are. But anyway, my new Captain Hawkland cover is amazing. Jeff is not a serial killer. Good God, no. No, he's a wonderful guy, a terrific human being. That cover is amazing. That is a sweet, sweet cover for that new Captain Hawkland.
We'll have a Garth Brooks rumor about Jeffrey Hayes. Are you familiar with that, by the way?
I might be. Let's hear it.
Okay, so there is it was a joke somewhere on the internet that now has turned into a full-fledged conspiracy following. That
I thought Chris Gaines was enough.
Right. That Garth Brooks is actually a serial killer.
Excellent.
Because apparently when he comes to cities, there's a rise in homicides that don't get solved. And so I don't know how valid that is. Like, I haven't done the research because I think it's stupid, but like there are people that legitimately believe this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. So if we can get that started about Jeffrey Hayes, I feel like it'll give him more business, to be honest.
It might. It just might. Yeah. Well, I grew up in the era of Paul is dead. So turn me on, dead man. No, I know who it is. I know who the real serial killer is in popular entertainment, and the thing is, the killer keeps leaving clues. Yeah, like a serious one from about a year or two ago. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. See, I knew it. See.
They're right.
And right now she's on a global spree of terror.
Everyone's dying. Actually, everyone's being possessed and they just don't know it.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And the thing is, somebody can say, like, I attended a Taylor Swift concert, and now, I was 10 when I attended it in 2024, and now I'm 80 and I'm about to die.
That's like that's some Frederick Wortham connections right there, man. Wait a minute. Every kid that has asthma reads comics. Guess what? Every kid that reads comics also drinks milk too. And then what are you doing? Yeah.
Now I think we found our new theme for our show from now on. I wouldn't know anything about crazy things going on with people. Anyway, so anyway, Sarah says, BKM Charles is the third one I voted for that I couldn't remember along with you and Jeffrey. Couldn't remember all three of us. So anyway, we were down one vote. Anyway, everybody said, and which Brian is which? Neither of us is a witch, actually. But I am Brian's familiar. and I am familiar with Brian.
And he's familiar, trust me.
Oh, I am. Oh, yeah. And everyone saying, hello, Sarah. And the tribe is coming in even more. So great to see. And yes, Michaela published a book today.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes. And I'm just so proud of her. I am beside myself with the
Is it on Amazon? Put a link in.
I think it's still in the approval stages. Michaela, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it was submitted to Draft to Digital today.
Nice. Okay, cool.
From whom all blessings flow. And Sarah, our ambassador.
So,
whereas Cookie says, Domino, you're a pizza. Anyway, and Rock on Michaela says, Sarah, gotta agree with you on that one. And Kelly goes, you think scientists will have learned by now, but AI is dangerous in any form. We were talking about that. We'll probably touch on it if we ever get to the subject. So anyway, everyone say hello. And Grant Lankard has revealed the secret of this show. I'm the only one who matters.
I've known this for a while. I just haven't said anything because I thought he would, wouldn't want everyone to know. I'm glad he's finally come out.
Yeah, I am too. Thank you.
He's the only
you probably
one
feel better about yourself.
Yeah,
Grant. I'm pleased for that. And
at least I know where I land in the cosmos now.
Yeah, exactly. You may have saved lives tonight, Grant. Thank you for that. Thank you for your service. And Grant, and wow, Brian's sandwich. Yeah, who?
What we do best here. So,
yes, that's right. That's right, by God. We're prepared to be the bookends here. So let us know when you're in this country, Russ. And Russ is like tearing up his passport.
His passport? No, never again.
Burning it. Yeah. And it sounds like you like that idea, Black Belt. Well, why wouldn't he, by God? It's the condiments that we bring that make the sandwich. Anyway, everyone's congratulating Michaela. There's not even room for air with that bromance hug. That's right.
No. Yeah.
No. We were practically bonding on a molecular level. Yeah,
intimate things were touching.
I think so.
Absolutely.
If not at first, then probably after about 30 seconds, I would say.
Rising to the occasion, as it were.
That's why we call it rising tide, buddy. Anyway. And Sarah loves us too. And we have Russ. Russell has expressed a desire about the Brian sandwich. Yum.
Delicious.
And yes, there are shenanigans tonight and light music official. Glad to see you here. Good evening. Hello. How are you tonight? Glad to have you here. And styles of music. Yes. Let's hear more. And here we go. And we got another face here. Rick Bulow is here for friend of yours.
Yes. Hello, Rick. Oh, how are you, my friend? Why are you still awake, sir? My goodness.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
He's in Denmark, I think.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And yes,
another get me to move there for forever. Like takes a little bit of work to do that.
Yeah, just a tad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, up that high, maybe the pollen count's a little low. We could work our schedule around this.
We'll see.
Rabbit. Yeah, Rabbit.
Yeah. She'll, if she hasn't already, she'll tell you all about it. Yeah.
She will. Yeah. See, I knew it. And Donna Carly, mwah, check out her work and Carl Witzman's on in that order, I'm sure. On lulu.com for some great reading. And everyone's saying hello. And glad to see you too. And Brian R., you like Nephilim, Ancient Gods, Fallen Angels? You'll like my book, I hope, anyway.
Oh, I'm sure I will. Ooh. Really quick. Ooh. Hold on. Yes. This is the bottom of the stack. I have a large stack of books next to me. So
is that
this
code?
Book. So this book, The Unseen Realm, by Dr. Michael Heiser.
Okay.
If you haven't read it, Kelly, and that is a subject that you're interested in, or anybody, you should.
Uh-huh.
It's fantastic. And he passed away last year, unfortunately, but he was a reputable, legit scholar who really he was a scholar of the Second Temple period. So the authors of the New Testament, that time period where they lived, scholar of that period, and has written commentaries on the Book of Enoch, all this stuff. Check out that book, The Unseen Realm. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay,
excellent.
that's all.
Excellent. No, that's good. Anyway, Donna, I didn't mean to give you short shrift. We're actually listening on my phone. Thought we had till 7 hour time to get home. Well, I'm sorry, Donna. We're both in the Eastern time zone here now.
We'll still be there.
Yeah.
It's only in 10 minutes. So, well, yeah. Either way.
Yeah. That was at 7:31. So wherever you're at, it's kind of like that Jimmy Kimmel line from the Oscars about that one movie being so long that you could get in your car and drive to Oklahoma and solve the murder yourself. That's what the show's turning into. Anyway, we're glad you're here in any way. We love you and we miss you, Brian's. Well, Russ, I miss you too, man. You're an awesome human being, and please check out Comic Book Black Belt on YouTube and on the interwebs. This guy is doing some beautiful work, and also Instagram. I'm digging Russ's Instagram account because he's he was doing a series of how to draw comics the Marvel way.
Cool.
Oh my God. Yeah. I love this man's artwork so much. And or Presidential Harms. We're not going to talk about that. And thankfully Dad worked at Oak Ridge, so I don't have to look anything up. Next time you hear is the black helicopters coming in. And first time here, and I did not expect to learn how to become a criminal. Well, stick with us, by Jingo.
Yeah. We're a good influence, sir. Trust me.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're better than your high school counselor. We'll give you a direction in life. Mostly, yeah. Next episode will be on the overcrowded prison systems in America. And they search the library computers for the books you check out. They have ways. But what if you take notes at the library and do not take the book out?
Indeed.
This
is a professional right here.
Yeah. I'm a professional troublemaker. Do not try this at home because you can't gain the information there without getting caught. And thanks for joining me, Rick. Thank you, Michaela, for being our guide and our greeter. And Clyde Hall, the gold standard of Comic Book Spectrum, Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Yes. Good evening, Pride of BRIANS and the Tuesday followers of Pulp Culture Wildlife. That's us. Yes. And we're proud of you. And Sarah says you never know what you'll learn with us. Yeah. And milkshakes, like, yeah. We've got the ones that drive all the boys to our swing set.
I keep them out back.
That's true. There we go. See? Yeah. And dress like Fresh Prince while in Philly. Okay. I could dance like Carlton, maybe,
That
I could do that.
I would love to see that in person. I'd pay to see that, actually.
I'm sure a lot of people would, as I snap my spine.
Coming soon on OnlyFans.
Pictures of my feet while I'm dancing like Carlton. I can see it now. And Rick says, and I hope I pronounced your last name correctly, Rick. Sarah, so walk around and slap people too soon. Now, that's just what I was thinking. I was trying not to go there, but thank you for doing it for me. Next, I'll be drinking a glass of water. And Kelly Austin says, Charles, I'm really busy at projects right now, but we can talk soon. We'll text. Smile. And I hope she's not talking about whipped cream here, but oh my goodness. And William Bolton, glad to see you here. Hello, Brian's and everyone. It's great seeing you guys on the show. Jeffrey Hayes rocks. Amen, brother. We'll second that emotion. And nope, from the time period of the show, but most recently, I'd love to see that with a cat and nine tails. I just bet you would. He might be stopped with having it, but it would be funny. And everyone's saying hello, and hello. And Kim Cox says it's absolutely the funniest conspiracy theory. If you mention it at meet and greets, Garth Brooks gets you kicked out. He is aware of it, and it's a touchy subject. I can just imagine.
That would actually be better if people ended up dead if they mentioned it.
The people would bring it up at concerts and suddenly they go, ooh.
Now they're gone. We don't know where they are. Actually, that would probably just validate that it's true.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it'd probably be like some other country singer, Martina McBride or something is actually doing the thing.
Martina McBride.
And doing the deed and framing Garth for the shenanigans.
That is like some prime soap opera serial killer drama. That is crazy.
like sands through the hourglass. Such are the days of our lives. And Brian M., I've gotten so much work done after breaking my foot, I think I've gained a superpower. If I thought that would work, I'd take a hammer to mine. And oh yes, and the truth comes out on this show that tells you the truth. Garth Brooks is a lizard person as well. Thank you. I'm glad to have that validated. And in the middle of playing an insane game of chess lately, you both, and Garth Brooks is one of the lizard people from LA. See, now William has verified this. In the UK, we know lizard people. We now wait a minute. I watched Doctor Who. I thought they were all werewolves. Am I wrong? I
forgot about that.
Yeah, they're werewolves. I mean, Doctor Who. It is a documentary, right? It started out as an educational children's show. What's changed, right? And I love chess too. I was the president of my chess club in high school, and Brian Rodman is the one with the glasses. Hope that helps. Thank you. Yeah, I think it clears it up for me. How about you?
Yeah, clear. Okay. Clear as mud. Yeah.
Thumbs up or face wrap. Do you like my motivational tactics? You are awesome at this, Sarah. That must be why we're getting so many likes on this show. And I have a lot of things I'm doing and have coming out with my writing. Excellent. And AI makes good for storytelling, but that's where it needs to stay. I agree. I was telling someone today that well, I'll be honest, and I've told this in public before. The initial back cover copy of this was generated through AI. I told it the elements I wanted. I said I wanted to be the back of a paperback cover, and it came up with something that I added a couple elements. It changed it a little bit, but I needed it to sort out which would be the better motivations. So like, you want your A threat to be highest, and then your B threat as kind of a teaser for, a subplot. And I couldn't decide which was my A plot, really, in my head. But this thing helped it clear it up. But by the time we got to this stage here, probably 80% of it was me.
Yeah.
I rewrote about 80% of it. So
I think at some point, like, I don't know. I feel like ChatGPT, and I don't know enough about that, to be honest with you. I haven't utilized it, but I read somewhere that it's essentially the same as like Midjourney or whatever. Like, it's problematic in the same ways.
Yeah.
I don't. So I don't know. I stay away from the AI stuff. I think there's a place for AI. I think not AI in the arts, but AI in general.
I agree.
I think there's a place for that stuff. But like, I don't know. I've utilized it before, mostly before I knew all the controversial stuff that came out of it. And then I stopped, and I've been a huge advocate against it. But I mean, I think at a certain point, like, using something as a tool up to a point is different than like allowing it to do everything for you.
Exactly.
When that's what's happening, that should never happen. We'll just say it that way.
I agree. I agree.
But yeah. So like, I mean, because at a certain point, like, search engines and things like that exist. And so if it's like a little bit like a search engine, like a glorified search engine kind of thing, because that's what I've used ChatGPT for in the past. It's kind of like hey, summarize this for me. Like, what does this mean? And like, that's just one step above a Google search, really.
Yeah.
And so that kind of usage, okay, that I get that. That's fine. But yeah, like if it's like here's a premise, write a novel for me and then publish it. Like, nah.
Yeah. And I heard that some people are already doing that, which is why Amazon is cracking down on that so severely. As they should, yeah. And I fully agree with you. It should be a tool, but not the finished product. And the thing is, even research, I have used AI, like on Google, to get me a brief answer, but then I always research it and verify it through a trusted source. Because I've said before, this is about 6 months ago, there was a law office that had a case, and they had AI write their brief. Wow. And the thing is, all the cases that were cited in the brief were made up by the AI.
See, and that's the danger with all this stuff.
It gets worse.
Oh, good.
They published this online. Yeah. Welcome to Armageddon, kids. But yeah, they published this thing online. Many people were dissecting this. And fortunately, the judge researched it, and boy, did these guys get in trouble. Like they're looking at disbarment now. But anyway, they posted. People have posted this online. Other AIs are now referring to it as if it were real. See, that's the danger.
Yeah,
one of the
that's
dangers
the problem
of AI.
with this. Yeah, especially with you're trying to like, and that's like a lot of colleges are now cracking down because students are writing papers using AI and similar problems. Not not factual information is being used. So yeah, there's a load of problems with AI in that form.
Oh yeah. And we got more comments. I'm pretty sure most people already know that I'm the only one who matters. Grant, that's kind of a given. we well, of course, duh. And Kelly congratulates Michaela, and there we go. Okay, Michaela does have a link already, so please check this out. Check out this lovely lady's work here. She is great. And productivity, I'm halfway done writing Beowulf number 0. Excellent. And we've got the great Rick Bradley here. How you doing, brother? Good evening, you two handsome devils. You well. How flattering coming from you, my handsome man. And it's a trip, and Michaela has written a XXX naughty book. Be careful. Get extras. And anyway, awesome. It is awesome about that. And we've got the great host of Never Mind the Furthermore. Thank God they got rid of that earlier host, Nicholas Anthony Tucker. Check him out. 10 a.m. Eastern time every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The Pride of Earl Park. How you doing, Nick? Hope you're doing well. And that okay, yeah, she loves our parts touching, as did we. But anyway,
who wouldn't, honestly?
Yeah, really. And even from 20 feet away, you can see them touching. But it's almost 1 a.m., so not real late.
Oh, now, okay. I can't math, so there's that,
Yeah. So anyway, Charles says, time for some shameless promotion, if I may. No, you can't. I'm not going to read that this year, Volume 2 of The Lost Adventures of Captain Hawkland will premiere, as well as Captain Hawkland at War, and to be determined, the Captain Hawkland comic book will finally come out. Well, we do not do plugs here. Not even for our friends, Charles. I'm so sorry. I've got to apologize. Never at all. We are bound and determined not to plug our own work even, okay? Not even stuff like this, which has gotten 9 great reviews and 1 troll. So anyway,
still a great review, though, because of what it says.
Wrote a terrific review, too. I got to compliment him. And the thing is, I'm writing the second book mostly because of the troll. But anyway.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. The troll... If you read what the troll says, the right people will like the book.
Right, but I got a 2-star review from somebody who left no review at all.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, because all it did was piss me off. It was great.
That's annoying.
So I figured let's let the free enterprise system go to work for me. Let's make more of the stuff that makes them angry. Anyway, welcome to Being in My Head, Sarah. And I appreciate your recommendation, Brian R. I will check that out. And we agree. Good job, Grant. Excellent. And gotta go. It's late here. Book title is The Shadow Kingdom. You guys are great shows, better than stand-up. Thank you, Russ. Check out Russ here at comicbookblackbelt.com or whatever it would be in the United Kingdom. Please take us back. Anyway, Russ, thank you for being here. Mwah. Keep up the good work. And you butchered my last name as any Americans, but you were not the worst. Well, thank you.
But you know what? We gave it a good college try. So there you go.
Yeah, it's the little things about the U there that I can never remember what they're supposed to be. So, because, I was born in the middle of a cornfield. We do not have such things. So anyway, Rick, I hope I got the first name right. And I mean, Martina did sing Independence Day. See, and that's when the aliens showed up, Independence Day.
Yep.
When
Good
President
job,
Bill
Martina
Pullman
McBride.
saved us from, extraterrestrial domination.
The best on-screen president ever. That speech, I listen to that speech at least twice a year.
It chokes me up. It really does every time.
So good.
It really is. And Rad Publishing, which is Rick Bradley and his superhero disguise. Oops, sorry. I said this on Facebook, but I know it can be cantankerous. So good evening, you handsome devils. Oh, we love you. We love you.
Nice he said it twice.
Yeah, that's right. And hey, Rick, I'm going to be in Carbondale in the next Carbondale area in the April and May. I hope I will get to see you, sir. Try my maiden name, which is Dutch, Rick. Now, I know that I should know how to pronounce that. There's a reason I didn't go back to after I got divorced. Okay, all right. But okay, that's fine. And
I see.
Good evening from the Sunshine State. Hello, Facebook user. How are you tonight? I hope you're doing well. And There we go. AI for menial tasks, people for creative ones. Kim Cox, you hit it on the head right there.
Indeed.
And the only AI I'm in favor of is avocado invasion. There we go.
I'm not even for that because I don't like avocado.
He'll come around. Anyway, Sarah, I actually know someone with that name, or at least something similar. So I think I know how to pronounce it. I would hope so. And Rick is getting Sarah getting into a fight here. And oh, my mind right now. Oh my God, talk about a minefield. And home again. Yay! You made it safely. Glad to see you here. And by the way, Rodman, Myers versus Batman, when?
I don't know. We'll talk about it eventually. So here's the story behind that, by the way.
Okay, yes.
So I don't know when it was. Last year at some point, I posted someone did fan art of Batman versus Michael Myers.
Oh, okay.
Really, really cool fan art. I love it. And I've said like that would be amazing if they ever did like a fan art comic book of it. And so Rick and I, like Rick's like, I'll paint it. He's a very good artist, by the way. Rick, put in your links to your work so people can see what you've done. Excellent painter. He and I are going to work together soon. But so he's after me about doing a fan comic of it. But unfortunately, I have to produce things that bring in some income before I do fan stuff.
Yeah, as opposed to stuff that might make you have to hire a lawyer, right?
Right. Well, we wouldn't make any money off of it. I would definitely be sure of that. But yeah. No, I can't. I don't have time. So he's just after me all the time. Rick is kind of also, he's your friendly neighborhood troll. And I love that about him. Yeah. But it's true. Yes.
Yes. I will promise you he'll get that out about 2 weeks after the nebulizer number 3. Okay. Right. I'll commit him to that. How's that? and Brian right now is going, oh, he's like thinking, Brian. Anyway.
We'll have words after the show.
I'm sure we will. Yeah, I gotta go. And dang, Rick, it's been a while. Dawn says, hey, Grant, sorry, kind of in a listening mode, trying to get some things done since I wasn't home much today. Well, heck. And Rodman sounds like a superhero who was bit by a radioactive rod.
Yeah, it's true.
Serling or Stewart. And I'm nocturnal by nature, too. So would I. And what would his powers be?
I know what my weakness is. Air.
Mine's gravity. And where's your friend with the AI game running into a wall after dropping a grenade, Rodman Rabbit? That's Sarah. Where's your friend with the AI game running into a wall after dropping a grenade, Rodman Rabbit?
I don't know.
Okay. And Rodman, you did not even try my last name. The other Brian did. Disappointed.
I'm not gonna, because I'll just tell you I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, well, I've already eliminated one pronunciation, apparently.
What did you even say? I don't even remember anymore.
I think I gave it like a long U, like like Claus von Bülow.
I got nothing. I don't know.
Okay, there we go. And don't, Sarah, he likes being shamed is basically why we're friends. I feel as I will like to shame. And what about Kevin Kline and Dave for Best Movie President? Now, that was good. He was good.
Yeah. There are lots of good ones. My close second is what's his face from The West Wing?
Yes, I was thinking of him too.
He's fantastic.
Martin Sheen.
Yes, thank you. Fantastic character. Bill Pullman, though, I don't know. Like, I think it's because I saw Independence Day when I was a kid, and that just like that character in that show, in that movie, was just, I don't know, stuck with me. I love it, and that monologue though, it's just so powerful.
Oh God, yeah, and especially if you watch that thing, like I watched it a lot after 9/11.
Oh,
you had to. That was a speech that was made for that. But and Carl Witzman is finally home. Carl, good to see you as always, my friend. Check out his work on Lulu.com, Mad Gasser cheerleader, and a new book about another mysterious death. It's good stuff. And so Brian Rodman, Todd McFarlane did what? He used to be my favorite author, but a few years ago he said something in an interview that kind of miffed me. Now he has really miffed me. Well, if we get around to talking about it, you are going to be thoroughly miffed by the end of the night.
I'll say this.
Yes.
It also has just been announced that this cover that won the Spawn cover contest was by an AI artist. Nothing else has been said. So I have expressed my anger towards it. But if it's a misunderstanding or there's more to it, I'm open to hear it, and I hope it's not true.
And I hope it gets him to change his mind.
I do too. If it is true, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And Rad Publishing goes, well, I mean, Batman did beat the Predator. I could see him beating Myers unless he uses his Austin Powers persona. Oh, wait, wrong Michael Myers. Yeah, we got to keep it, Rick, just behave, baby. Anyway, I can never trust a guy who's anti-avocado, says Grant Lankard. And Candace Cobaliri, one of my favorite humans. Oh, good evening. Good to see you. Mwah, Candace, how are you and your fella doing? It's so good to see you. And Candace, I've been meaning to write you. This will be vague booking for us. Cookie schedule has finally stabilized. I can tell you about it. We got to have dinner soon. There we go. And why weren't you home today, Dawn? Innocent smile. Oh, and pie. Of course, we're not going to read anything into that. And Kelly goes, "Hey friends, both Bryans, I have to leave this wonderful gathering long night on the computer with coffee, tramadol, and Twinkies. Be good and stay great." Yeah, it sounds like a party to me. Kelly, please take care of yourself, hon. Thank you for being here. And we were busy running poor Dawn ragged while getting exercise. My arms hurt from fighting the wind while driving. Oh yeah, I bet. Poor thing. And Nebulizer number 3, set to be released maybe in 2030. Maybe it depends. I love you, buddy, says Rick Bradley. And you'll definitely have to put up with me when you're around, Mr. Morris. Excellent. That's what I've been hoping to hear. And Zombie Game from Sarah, your cohort from a podcast. The two of you were going to have running VR game, not AI. That's probably the confusion. Okay.
Yeah. Jeremy running directly into a wall.
Yes, man, I remember that. I remember that now. Yes. That was
the best stories ever. Oh, goodness.
And Carl's tucking Kelly in, and Dawn says, I like Michael Douglas as a POTUS as well. Yeah, that's true. I'd vote for him. And I probably should. And Sarah, still, how can you forget hearing him yell, "Grenade!" then running into a wall story?
Yep.
And Jeremy, was that his name? I think he had a big beard too. Am I right? It's been a while. Yes.
Yep.
And Rodman, I'm also not an avocado fan, and I'm trustworthy a bit. That's just what an untrustworthy person would say. Yeah, I'm not lying to you. But, sounds great. Yes, it does, Candace. It has been far too long, sweetheart. Check out this woman's work. Check out her Facebook page. This woman, for as long as I've known her, has done exemplary artwork, and she keeps getting better and better and better. She is fantastic. She really is. And we love her. And did my link not come through? One of my wrenches. So. Please, Rick's... post it again, please, Rick, and please, one of my guys and gals with a wrench, please let it go through. Okay, thank you, Rick. Thank you for bringing it to our notice. And with that, we have caught up with the comments. Didn't we have a show we wanted to do tonight? Was that it?
This was
okay,
it.
Screw it. Yeah, this is more fun. Yeah,
I'm good to keep going if you are. I'm just saying.
I'm on it as long as our audience is on fire. Let's run with it.
Yeah, let's go. All right.
Okay, don't get screwed by publishers. Okay, I think we've covered everything. Okay, I think you have to have a wrench by your name to be able to post a link. I'm not sure. Actually, there you go. Okay, we got it back up. Okay, thank you. Whoever did that, thank you very much. And YouTube is a pain on links. And wow, caught up people get with that. That's right.
We haven't had one comment dump yet. Come on.
Yeah. And Carl, he is kind of like the grand poobah. The only person who has more, no, I won't even say that I have more control over this than Carl, because Carl has all the control in the world.
I think Carl has more control than anybody about anything.
I think so as well. And thank goodness he's in charge. The dark, just like Carl. That's true. And OMG, we're behind on comments. Yeah, get with it, Sarah. Come on. No one-word things either. I want full comments.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. We're not going to do this, Sarah. We are so not going to do this. I refuse to be a party to this. You will never see me doing this crap, okay, Sarah? And you can just stop it right now, because I will not do this. And I'm not. Brian's not either. He's not putting up with this thing either. You will not see any of her comments on the screen right now, and I can just see her laughing in her room. Probably on the verge of her bladder exploding, okay? And Carl Wiz was so make me come in there. You sure you want to? Go get him, Wisman, dude. And Sarah, of course, mocks us with her laughter. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah. Well, so okay.
Yes.
Jumping into the topic, finally, an hour and 10 minutes.
The topic, friends.
So, how long's it been? Few weeks where it came out that
couple
Scout
weeks,
Comics.
It was on where was it? Comic Scene, I think it was. Wasn't that it?
Was that
the one Clyde works for?
There's been a ton of
that's the one. The first one I saw.
Yeah, Scout Comics has been called out for not paying their creators, which they've gotten in trouble with this before. Unless you correct me if I'm wrong.
I think they have too, and they're not the only ones. I remember last fall there were like a whole bunch. Like Aftershock, I think, was having issues with payment. Now what made
maybe I think as well.
Yeah. And what was that one? Maybe it was Aftershock, but there was one company I was following, a couple of their titles, and it, they just disappeared for lack of payment. Now, what made the Scout Comics more egregious, in my opinion, is the fact that once the creators were saying, "Hey, where's my royalties? Where's this and that and the other according to our contracts? Where's all the stuff?" The editors did two things. Some started ghosting the talent, which is never a good thing. And the other thing they were doing was saying, if you say anything about this in public, we will blackball you.
Which is
threats and that.
Threatening to not live up to your contract. I mean, they're just asking for a lawsuit here.
Oh my God,
and I think they rightfully should be sued at this point. I think because there's enough writers and creators, artists that have come out that have said, "Hey, there was one that eventually got paid,
right?
But they canceled his book." And and so he's like, "That's fine, pay me my money and I'll just go somewhere else with the work."
But that's sort of retaliation. That is dirty pool. And Sarah says, "Sorry for my language." No,
I mean, totally, that's very appropriate.
Yeah.
So but no, it and so I guess our topic was starting with Scout, the news about Scout Comics was more so just, as indie creators, how do you protect yourself from that, right? Like, how do you go into an agreement? First of all, should you pursue a publisher? I think that's a good question to ask first.
I think it's something every creator, especially now, as you and I know with the technology, that we can do the work ourselves. There are no more secrets to publishing. We know them all now. And we've got Google, we've got YouTube. If we need to learn anything new that gets this stuff out, you can hire people, you network, you go and find somebody that probably knows how to do the thing you need to have done. And I agree with you. I think somebody ought to lawyer up, but the problem is a lot of independent creators are, this is a hobby for most of them.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't have the money for lawyer fees. I mean, I know you can always get a lawyer that doesn't get paid until you do, kind of thing. But like that, going through legal, I mean, sometimes it's just necessary. Sometimes you have to do it, but otherwise, I mean, sometimes it's a hassle. It takes up a lot of time, takes up a lot of money. There, and bridges are burned, and it's a whole thing. And so unless you absolutely have to do it, you don't really want to go through it.
Because I remember Jerry Ordway, a great writer artist, worked for Marvel, DC, a lot of the independents. I remember, this is probably about 10 years ago, he posted on his blog complaining basically, I have been a part of some of the best-selling comic books in history. Like, the Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Fantastic Four, and not to mention his own Captain Marvel work he did for Marvel. And he was part of the team that killed Superman back, 30 years ago. And he goes, I can't find work now. Nobody will hire me. And he's done smattering of things ever since. But I was just at the time blown away with one, the courage of this man speaking out, especially against DC, because somebody, you when you're a whistleblower, you run the risk of other people not wanting to hire you, because what if he sees something here and airs our dirty laundry?
Yeah.
And also, what level of desperation does it take to where you're backed into a corner and this is the last resort? It's like, I'm pleading, I would love to work for you guys. I still can do the work. Yeah. Why are you not making my phone ring?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think going back to what you said about if you should even consider a publisher, Dirk Manning said something one time about this very thing. He said, because it's so, easy is a very oversimplified term in this process. It's complicated and difficult to do this work, but I don't want to oversimplify it, but it's much easier now than it was 10, 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
To do that. And hold on really quick, really fast.
Well, while you're doing that, that's why I admire people like Charles Milhouse or Molly Daniels, who were self-publishing before all the stuff was in place, like, Kindle Direct Publishing or Lulu or, Drafted Digital or, all this stuff. They were doing it the old-fashioned way, and they're still around doing great work, both of them.
Well, what I was saying about what Dirk said was, you really, you have to look at it as a publisher isn't going to isn't necessarily going to give you permission to do the work anymore. You have permission already. Mm-hmm. You have the means. You can save up the money. You can make it happen. Even if it's just an ebook kind of format at first, you can do it and make it happen on your own and build up the audience, all that stuff. Really, it's
done.
Right. It's more so it's what can the publisher do for you? Versus what, you groveling and doing whatever the publisher says, which has been the case historically in comics, especially. So, now, like, I have never worked with, I've worked with a couple different small press publishers for freelance work kind of deal, but like, I have never brought my work to a publisher. They have accepted it, and now we're working together to publish something. I tried that at first, and I don't think it's bad to try that. Don't get me wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to do that, submitting to Image Comics, all that kind of stuff. A lot of people do that. I think that's fine. But I think these are real dangers that really, I'm ignorant to how this type of stuff, how it's happened, or if it's happened in like the prose world, but it seems like comics have really like abused their creators a lot more. And that might just be speaking from ignorance when it comes to like how prose novels like that publishing. I know it works differently. It feels like DC and Marvel have just screwed over everybody.
Well, there is a wonderful book by Gerard Jones called Men of Mystery that details the criminal underpinnings of the comics industry. DC Comics was formed by a guy that had ties to the mob. So was Charlton.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, and Marvel's original publisher was doing shady things all the time. Like you read the magazines, especially in even the early Marvel age stuff, they all had different publishing names.
Yeah.
Which is, a little bit shady. Plus you hear about how he messed over Jack Kirby, Joe Simon, and Steve Ditko by promising the participation financially and then backing out of it. Like, classic example, Captain America back in the 40s. They were selling from the get-go over 1 million copies per issue between Joe Simon and Jack Kirby's work. And basically what they did was, instead of taking the profits and loss on the Captain America comic, they were doing the Hollywood bookkeeping and putting the entire publishing line's profits and losses against the Captain America title. And when a lot of these titles are losing money, that brings the percentage down on cap. And so they're good and saying, well, I can't pay you because we're putting everybody else basing their your success on how the whole line works, and that's when the two went to DC. So yeah, there is a long history of chicanery in the comics industry on a multitude of levels. Like an editor doesn't like an artist or a writer, so they fire them when they get to control of the book. Found out that one of my favorite comic lines from the 60s, Tower Comics, it was formed by a guy that worked for Archie Comics and had worked for him for like 20, almost 30 years by that point. These comics from Tower were selling so well, and they had like an Archie type in there that Archie put pressure on the distributor to not put their books on the racks.
Man.
And it eventually did the company. And then there's stuff like that happens all the time. Plus, history, even in the independence of people not getting paid, all kinds of stuff like that. So this is unfortunately nothing new. So
yeah. And I mean, in my own personal experience, there for a long time, I mean, I tried to collaborate with a few people here and there, and it usually just ended up blowing up in my face. And that's not even a publisher. That's just collaboration.
Right.
And so and honestly, it's funny because I actually submitted Memoirs of an Angel, the comic book, to Scout Comics. And I mean, they were very nice. It got rejected. They were very nice. They answered within a few days, and very polite, very kind about it. He actually complimented the work, but he said this just wasn't the particular idea that they were looking for at the time.
Sure.
And that was it. But and who's to say if I would have gotten picked up that this would have happened? Because it didn't happen to everybody in Scout Comics. But enough, right? And so
right.
I guess it's just like at this point in the game for me, I've been burned personally. I've seen so many of my peers get burned. Many of them had no warning. It just happened, right? And they were a victim to this situation, to someone else's greed or whatever. And I don't know, it's put me off of ever really wanting to seek out a publisher for any of my works. I mean, when I can do it all by myself, well, not by myself, I have my own team of people that I know and that I trust. Then I don't see why I would need to reach out to a publisher at this point. And I think that's a big lesson for indie creators, especially when you're starting out. Start doing your own stuff, learn the business. I think that's the hardest part because so many people are creative minded, they don't want to learn the business. Thankfully, I have a lovely, beautiful wife who is a brilliant businesswoman. So I've learned a lot from her. She really took up that side of our publishing. But I've learned so much. If you have a friend, a close loved one, whatever, who is savvy in that area, ask them questions, have them, just help you. There's a lot of resources too out there that just learn the business, cover your butt while you're writing and doing this on your own, and utilize, KDP or draft to digital or whatever there is, that you choose to utilize, and just do it yourself. I think is probably the best way to start before while you're learning enough to not get screwed over.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point about doing it yourself because we have the knowledge. Like I said, it's out there. But the thing is also, I don't have any horror stories from the prose side of what I do.
See, and I'm brand new in that, so I guess as a brand new author for prose,
right?
What, like, I guess my question for you is, so you've never had that experience on that end. Are there any horrors? I'm sure there are, but it seems like there's just more horror stories on the comic side of publishing.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, I've heard far more horror stories, and as far as stuff that I've experienced, the worst I've had is some people have not done the production work on the book that I would have done, and I like to think I hold myself to a fairly high standard
I would say you do, and you do a good job with that.
Well, the thing is, when I work with other people,
yeah,
I make sure that they hold up to their standard or higher, because then it brings me up.
right.
So, it's like I'll put this book up against anything you see at a Barnes and Noble or Books a Million. I think it's Jeffrey Hayes, PlasmaFireGraphics.com. I think he brings his A game to everything, and he made a spectacular looking cover. And it's not just me; he's done it for every book I've ever seen that he had a hand in.
Yeah.
And I agree. There is this weird myth that, oh, I'm so creative, I cannot sully my delicate hands and sensibilities with business. Get over yourself.
You have to. You have to. You have to do it, or you have to have someone who is willing to join you that you trust.
Right.
Because obviously I trust my wife.
Right.
I married her. So I mean, but there are so many people who will screw you over by helping you. I mean, that that's in every aspect of life. Is if you don't know the business, and you enter the business and you just let someone else do it all, and you don't learn anything, you refuse to learn anything, you're asking for failure at that point. You're setting yourself up for a disaster, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's not like you have to become like an attorney in all areas of publishing. It's like, yes, I know a little bit more than a lot of people on certain subjects like trademark, copyright, fair use, etc., because I've done the research, and I'm fortunate in that I can get the hemispheres of my brain to talk to each other and work in.
That's impressive, because I can't. So
yeah, some people can, some people can't. I'm one of them, but it's like, I've if nothing else, I think people should try self-publishing, if only so that you can understand what the other party, when you are published by somebody else, what they go through.
Yeah.
Because they're doing the same thing you are, they're just doing it for somebody else other than themselves. And I found that since I was fortunate enough to put out a couple of books, and then I sought out work from other publishers, and it pulled a few veils from my eyes, because a lot of people have this idea of like, well, my publisher is going to do all the promotion for me. My publisher is going to get me booked on Good Morning America. My publisher is going to make me a wealthy person.
Right.
Bourgeois. I've got statistics that will pop your balloon, sweetheart.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it also, made me a little bit more patient with the people I work with. And like I said, my beefs with some of the people that published me, no one I'm working with now, I will say that. My beefs are mostly in how the thing was, the work was presented.
Yeah.
And, I think I'm coming out pretty well if that's the case. And most of the publishers, in fact, all the publishers I work with now, I am elated with. I feel like I have, like I grabbed the brass ring when the merry-go-round came about. That I am blessed with, my publishers, and I still like, doing it myself, just to keep my hand in, if nothing else, and to keep, the OCD half of me happy that likes to micromanage every bleeping aspect of the process.
Right.
Because that's one thing, you got to sit back when other people are going, go, okay, Brian, you got to be patient. Yeah.
I think a helpful thing when you're learning how to do the business, like you said, you don't have to learn it all. You don't have to learn how to be a lawyer or anything like that. It's learn your red flags.
Yeah.
That's really the biggest thing is learn what the red flags are. Also, learn what the norms are when you are working with a publisher. Like I've worked with many different publishers at this point, doing freelance stuff. They've worked different ways. Some people prefer to pay you in copies of the book. Some people pay you cash. Some people, you do the art first and then you get paid. That could blow up in your face.
Yes.
But I've only done that a couple times, and it's because I trust the person and they've proven to be trustworthy.
Right.
And so, like, you have to understand how things work, understand what the red flags are, and where to draw your line. And also what you can and can't do. I mean, because there are some people that, like, we were talking about in the comic book spectrum chat group over the weekend. We were talking about like going to shows and not making any money or whatever, and how big shows suck now. It seems everything's so expensive and everyone's focused on the celebrities. But a big part of that, a good part of those big shows, is networking. So it's like, okay, like you have to know your situation to know, okay, if I go to this show or if I do this thing, am I covered enough to take a loss and be able to still like call it a good show from a networking perspective? Well, if you don't have enough money to cover the loss, don't do it.
Yeah. It's like going to a casino. Don't bet more than you're willing to lose.
Exactly. It's it's the same ideal or same idea. And so, yeah, like it's just, you have to be able to understand the business enough as a creative to survive and thrive in it. You don't have to learn every nook and cranny of how everything works.
Right. And also, the networking is very important because there are people who I tell them to their face, I fanboy over them because I'm a fan of their works. I respect them so much. And so many of them have, given me information. They didn't have to do it.
Yeah. Oh, well, right now, how many times have I come to you for advice on what to do, like, or an idea that I have that, you have, thankfully, thank you very much, have either encouraged me because it was a good idea or whatever, or you've corrected me and said, actually, this isn't how you thought it was. And that has both have helped me tremendously. Finding seasoned professionals, veterans in the business that are willing to help, don't abuse it. Don't, make them do all the work, because that's not fair. And that's a good way to get ghosted. But also, like, find people who are willing to help you and ask them questions and learn from them. And I mean, that's huge. Finding a community that you trust and that isn't going to screw you over. That's everything.
Yeah, and you're always going to have some rotten eggs in there, but we like with Rising Tide, we tend to
we weed
edit
them
out.
Yeah. Edit them out. I like that more. That's better.
It sounds kinder than how I really feel. But anyway, no, the net, you touched on a good point. The networking aspect is so very important, and it doesn't have to necessarily all be in your genre. I will talk to my friends who write romance, who write erotica, who write paranormal stuff, which I don't normally do. And the same thing. I've got people in my comics half like you. If I have a question, I know I can run to you. There's a goodly a fistful of people on both sides that if I need help, I know where to get it. But I'm also like J. Michael Straczynski said in a book I keep referring to, Becoming a Writer, Staying a Writer. That
Great book. Great.
Isn't that though?
Yes. Yeah. You actually referred me to that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Very good book.
Yeah. I think everyone should have a copy of it and On Writing by Stephen King in their library.
I have both.
I do too.
And I would also add Dirk Manning's
Right or Wrong.
Great. And there's a second edition now.
I got
it. That's updated. Very good stuff. It's mostly about self-publishing. Very good stuff for someone who's starting out.
Yeah, especially in comics. And I've got to give a shout out to Dirk, because when I was really warming up and getting on the writing circuit, the show circuit and everything, I saw him up in Toledo, Ohio, and I got to spend a little time because I was already a fan of his writing and such. And he just basically sat me down and reminded me of a whole lot of stuff I'd forgotten. And I'm like, you're right. I should be doing that. I should be doing that. And he was just, and anytime I've had something, I reach out to him, and he's always been encouraging. He is a great guy. I really, really like him. And I agree with you that Right or Wrong should be on every comic creator's bookshelf, because that's really a blueprint on how to build your community and how to build your fan base.
Yeah, and I will say this: I know there's been some controversy about him. We won't get into that.
Yeah.
But I think overall, I believe in second chances. I think he has proven, as far as I've seen and can see,
Mhm.
that, hey, we all screw up. Some of us
Mhm.
screw up a lot bigger than others.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think how we know your character is how you come back from that, or what you
Exactly.
do next, right?
Yeah,
Like, own up to it and move on. And from what I've seen, that's happened.
yeah.
So I can, in good conscience, say I really think people should utilize his because
Mhm.
he's an excellent teacher. He's a good help.
Yes.
And he's a very kind person when he reaches out to help you. He's backed every single one of my Kickstarters,
Oh,
and he's
that's
never
very
had to
cool.
do that. Like, yeah, it's really, really kind. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think those 3 resources are huge for
Yeah,
indies.
I agree. I agree with you completely. We've had some comments, so let's catch up on those, why
Yes,
don't
let's
we?
do.
Yes, Rad Publishing, Rick Bradley says it seems like the publishers thought the rules didn't matter to them, and if no one said anything, they would have continued. I hope they get reamed by the creators. That's when people
They are.
forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're getting it dry and sideways, as well they should. But for that kind of behavior, if nothing else, keep the communication going. I will be the first to confess that my Doc Saga anthology, I think I solicited that before the lockdown. But I keep everyone that's on that book see what I'm doing. They see I'm busy. They see that I'm managing other things, and they know that I will get to it. And I've promised them that's going to be one of my priorities this year. And some of them tease me, Charles, and some of them give me a lot of crap for it, Charles. But they do it with love.
Yeah.
They know I build up enough of a cachet with them that they know I will get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and
And I
that's
want to handle
another
it
thing.
personally, so that's the thing.
I would say this: let
Yeah.
your nose be nose and your yes be yes,
Mhm.
because your reputation, especially in indie, when you're doing it all yourself, that matters. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you are shady, if you screw people over,
Mhm.
that's going to come out, and it's going to destroy what potential you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You
yeah, hopefully you're not even thinking about doing shady stuff, but if you are, just know it doesn't get you anywhere.
I'm just doing it for my NSA guy that I mentioned earlier, who's begun drinking, I understand. Yeah, yeah. The best thing I've heard on that is it takes years to build a reputation, but it takes 1 second to destroy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and Sarah says, no one messes with the creatives like that, Rick. I don't play with that kind of behavior. And learn my language can get colorful, though. I try to tame it during podcasts. Emphasis on try. You do a wonderful job. Probably better than I do, which is why I got one of these. But anyway, Brad goes on. If only there was a lawyer that believed in the sure win, this could be, and they cared about the arts, or at least cared about people getting their compensation due. I would think one thing I was thinking of was like a class action suit.
Yeah. Oh, for this specific situation, yes.
Yeah, and I saw that they got like it supposedly got an infusion of money, which doesn't help the communication issues.
Right.
But until then, I have known some people in publishing that have done some shady things, and a clear-cut case of being deceitful. And I have asked the people involved. Unfortunately, I wasn't involved with it, other than knowing the principles.
Yeah.
And the people who were screwed by him said, we could sue him. We could probably win. We're 99% sure we would win. But what would we get?
Right. And that's another thing is if the person isn't going to be able to pay out or anything like that, why go through all of that?
Yeah, and
The only
especially
thing
when there
I
are
would
others
say,
involved, when there are others
right.
involved that had
The only thing I would say
nothing to
is
do with it.
it might shut the person down from ever doing it again.
That's part, I study law
That's a
on the
part of it.
side,
Yeah.
being the internet rocket surgeon that I am, that like currently our former president has gotten, and Alex Jones, for instance, have had some monstrous penalties laid on them. And part of it is, and it's dictated by law, that whether you like it or not, that part of the damages are for reparation. The other are punitive. That's why they call it punitive charges, because they are to hurt the person that committed the crime and hopefully keep them from doing it again because they got burned.
Yeah.
Okay. So that that's why you may see like a $500 million judgment against certain people. we will not mention Voldemort's name on here, and but it's to discourage this sort of thing from happening again. That's
Right.
why it is so large, and also certain laws, certain states have laws built in where it's a formula.
Yeah.
You know, it's a multiplier of the damages received, and you multiply that to get the the compensatory damages. Then you multiply that by the multiplier to get the punitive damages. So this has been your law moment.
Look at
with
you!
Brian.
You can read and write. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm trying to be a leader to the youth of America today. Dan Hollifield said that was a paperback publisher in the 50s or 60s that became infamous for not paying royalties. Whatever they paid up front for the work was all the writers ever saw until someone else took over. Well, Dan, that's a good point. I remember reading about that. And also when Disney bought the Star Wars franchise.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that one.
And they decided, Mr. Mouse, I'm bigger than the law that surrounds me, said that, well, that bound the previous publishers, that, bound the paperback companies. Now, we are not bound by that. And then the Writers Guild of America got involved and said, oh, yes, it does. And Disney loosened up with that.
Yeah. It's a similar thing with the recent strike of the streaming, when streaming networks streamed movies, people weren't getting paid. And that's
an issue
because they're like, oh well, that's not we didn't make this, we didn't do this. You're making money off of it. You need to give a proper cut.
Exactly. Good for them. Now Rick says, I have been screwed so many times from payment by now that I am really getting frustrated. It pisses me off how low respect writers and artists are given from people on the outside of the business or on the inside. It's like one thing I've mentioned fairly recently was I used to be a playwright before I went into novels and such. And there were producers of community theater that were going, oh, we're going to put together this evening of scripts and entertainment. Writers, send us $25 and we'll consider your script. And which went against what the Playwrights Guild said were the standards for, this sort of behavior. And I wrote several of these guys said, hey, if I send you 50, do I stand a better chance?
Right.
And I actually, and one of the companies got very defensive about it because this just pissed me off to the max. And one of the companies said, well, how are we supposed to get advertising and this and that? And I said, have you ever heard of sponsorship?
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And
how do other people do it?
Yeah. And have you asked anyone? And finally I asked them, I said, did you charge your actors to audition?
Yeah.
And one person I did, and of course, I got some rather rude replies from a lot of people, and I deserved them for trolling like that. But one person said, I put this before the board, and we agree with you. You're absolutely right. We have done a great wrong by the writers. We're going to cancel this program, and we are going to go back and figure out how to do this so that it's ethical and fair to everyone involved.
Good for them.
That's what I told them.
Like I said earlier, hey, you did a thing. It was bad. What are you going to do now? That you've been called out, you realize it, what's the next step? And if it's that kind of response, good on them.
That's exactly right.
That's somebody I'd work for.
I would too.
That shows integrity.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Some people just, and some people, it isn't a case of, twirling their handlebar mustache like Snidely Whiplash and rubbing their hands. How shall I screw over the writers today?
Right.
That sort of thing. I think some of it is unconscious because they don't know, they don't realize that they are not being fair and equitable.
Well, who is it? Warren Ellison.
Warren Ellis, yeah.
Yeah, or Warren Ellis, yeah. He has I don't know how many stories about people trying to screw over him personally.
Oh, Harlan Ellison?
Harlan Ellison.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Warren Ellis is a different person. Yeah. Harlan Ellison. Thank you. Absolutely. So many times people have tried to screw him over, and he was not one to be screwed over and would tell you about it and then tell others, which he did. And
he fills up half a shelf of my library with these exploits.
Pay the writer. That's his thing. Pay the writer. If you want the thing, pay for it. Stop asking writers to do stuff for free. It doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't ask this is what he says. You wouldn't ask your repairman. You wouldn't take your car to the shop and expect them to do it for free. Don't expect a writer to write something for you for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't expect me to pay my water bill with exposure.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. How do you
Yeah.
eat? How do you pay for food with exposure?
Yeah. Yeah, I got one real quick story, and then we'll go back to the comments. When early years again, when I was on the road, I had somebody say, "Well, you ought to give me your stuff for free," and I'm like, "You ought to keep moving, pal." And he was like, "No, I've got a blog. I could give you exposure. I've got 5 people that subscribe to it."
Right.
And I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you need to keep walking, buddy.
That's another thing that Harlan Ellison said was he said, like there was a story that he told about someone wanting him to appear on a special features or something like that.
Yes,
And they were like,
for Babylon
yeah,
5, yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, "Well, we could give you great exposure." He's like, "I don't need the exposure. You're coming. I'm helping you get exposure." He said, "No, you need to pay me to give you exposure." So yeah, it's just funny how people egos. Yeah, I think Carl mentions it in the comments later on. The egos are just the problem, man.
It is, except for mine. But anyway, Sarah goes, "Oh dear Lord, with the level of whistleblowing I've blasted open since we last spoke, and jittery situation, game of not fun chess." We will definitely be talking soon, Sarah. And for the companies that don't want to hire the whistleblowers, what you hiding there?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And going to bed was fun. Hey, Rick, thank you for being here, man. We'll be back in 2. If you watch this on the rerun, we'll be back in 2 weeks with something else. So please come join us. Thank you for being here. Sarah says, "I'll fill you in later. It's not for the show, but yes, I understand about whistleblowing for the greater good to hold the company accountable. Jeebus, the length that's gone." And snuggle up and sleep well, Rick. Nice to meet you, and nice to have been met.
Rick's a great guy. I'm glad he's getting involved with the Rising Tide group.
I am too.
He's a good dude.
And he'll teach us how to pronounce his last name. And everyone's saying good night.
Or he probably won't, just to laugh at everyone.
Just to hear us, mangle it. And here's a couple there are a couple of European anthology publishers that I won't work with any longer, Dan Holyfield says, because they only pay you 10 or so copies of the book your story appears in. I hear about that all the time. Man, that's nuts. And no warning? What show am I watching? It's been a long day. Welcome to Never Mind the Furthermore Clever Title Pending. Glad to have you here. You're welcome.
This is pretty much what this is.
Yeah. It's a BK minute expanded by like 106 by now. But anyway, and different situation, but resonating. And between 2 Brians, Dawn. And build your audience. Thank you, Carl. Build your audience before looking to other publishers, and still don't expect a lot from them. Yeah, that's true. If you keep your expectations low and prepare to be hopefully delighted with what you have. And Ryan Permison, good to see you, my friend. The 2 Brians. Hey, you guys. Hey, good to see you, Ryan. Hope you're doing well. And yes, absolutely, definitely cover your butt before going in full force. Do your homework for sure. Yeah, this is where networking also comes in handy, because if a friend of mine recommends a publisher, I will move over towards them. Or if I see they publish my friends,
I'll tell you this
for a lot. Yeah.
Even people like it on Facebook, before I accept a friend request, I look and see who our mutual friends are.
So
if I see a couple pivotal people, that's an immediate yes.
Yeah, same with me.
I'll scroll through a couple, and as long as you're not shouting constant political things at me, then, I'll give you a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I don't see pivotal people on here, I'm usually pretty slow to do that. If you catch me on a good day, I'm like, all right, maybe. But I've just too many people that I don't know that have been accepted have ended up being crazies. So you gotta vet. You have to vet people and publishers and people that you work with. If you have shows, vet the people before you put them on your show.
Right.
You have to because now your reputation is tied to them.
Exactly. Yeah. And there was a time when I would just okay anybody that sent me a friend request, because I didn't have that many people on there, and you never know what friendships will blossom from that. And after a certain point, I started getting to the point where I was attracting the lunatics.
Yeah.
And the people that I would ask myself, would I want this person in my house?
Yeah.
That narrowed the field down a lot.
Yep, for sure.
Ryan Permisson says, this is Bossa Nova. These are two of the greats. Oh my God, we love you, Ryan. You got half an hour to stop that kind of talk. And you guys
I'll be on Ryan's show this Saturday, by the way.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
That's worth watching right there.
Yes.
But Ryan also has good shows. Check out his channel
Great
on YouTube.
shows.
He's a great guy. And you guys are seasoned, but dang, yeah, don't let the horror stories stop you, but be aware of them. And that's true. That's a good point, Sarah. And Dawn Dula says there seems to be a lot more components of the comic book world than prose, artists, letters, inkers. Yeah. It is, and especially since a lot of the people doing the work, not on both sides of the aisle, really, are doing it as a side gig or a hobby. Deadlines mean nothing, to a lot of them. And some people it does mean something. I mean, I signed a contract last week for a project. I have a deadline.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love having a deadline. But some people, that's why they can only do like one book every 3 or 4 years, because, that's just what life hands them. So Ryan is right. Business is business. Get it done, and trust is a two-way street. They've got to be able to trust you as well.
Oh,
that's
for sure.
Very good point. Very good point, Ryan. And write both Brians and do it right. Exactly. Got to hold yourself just as accountable, says Sarah, as you expect the others to hold up. Doesn't always happen, but unfortunately, yes. And she is listening to us, and we're listening to you. We hear you. We see you.
This is a safe space.
This is a safe kitchen to be in. And I said I wouldn't get political. And Rand Publishing says, I know I'm thankful I have both of you, Brians, to bounce off ideas and questions about Wrangler Publishing. I trust you 100%. And we trust you. Yeah. We trust you to put your best, foot forward, and you've never let us down, Rick. You are so cool. All right. But you didn't hear it from me. And I can see this paralleling with various type of positions, but I digress. Ooh, positions. Listening mod engaged. Brian's like, what did I sign up for? And,
I knew when I brought you into this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And speaking of people you wouldn't have in your house. But anyway, Rad Publishing says, and I can only hope when I finally get Rad Publishing up and running smoothly at some point, at least, I've got faith, Rick, you can do it. I can be there for beginning creatives to get their stuff out there. Excellent. That is great. Carl Witzman says, people have a dream about getting rich or famous, but that only happens for a few folks. Sorry, that's the truth of it. And many I know think they are better than they are. Carl, I'm in the room, please. I feel targeted.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah.
Rude.
Yeah. Rude. No, he makes seriously, he makes an excellent point that people come in with expectations. And I learned something. It was a couple of years ago when Penguin was trying to purchase Simon and Schuster. Yeah. And it fell through. Yeah. But during the process, Penguin, during the discovery phase, had to list their sales.
Yeah.
And half of their catalog, and you know how much Penguin puts out in a year, half of the people writing for them have made zero money, zero sales. Yeah. And I think I've heard that like maybe 5 or 6% of all the people who have a book out right now can make a living at it.
Yeah.
It's pretty long odds. It's pretty bad odds, but
well, don't let that stop you. The first person, great guy. I've talked about him before. Nathan Thomas Milner, good friend of mine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was the first person that gave me a break into comics.
Nice.
He is a commercial artist for horror and has directed films, done movie posters. Great guy. Yeah. But the first thing he told me, we met at the mall food court, and we were just talking about the anthology I was going to do with him, and he said, "This is the biggest piece of advice I can give you." He said, "Know that there's no money in this."
Yeah.
He said, if you're in this for the money, you're gonna first of all be extremely disappointed, and that's the wrong reason to be in this. He said you have to love it, and know that this is the only thing you can do. Like this is you're in it because of the love of making art. If it's anything else, don't do it. And that set my expectations from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it was a little disappointing to hear because I knew nothing at that point. This was like 2012. I knew nothing.
That was my year too. So yeah.
So yeah, it was great advice, and I still hold to it today.
So do I. And the fact, and anytime I do make money at something, it's
right.
Like, hallelujah.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. That's great. You're in like a very small percentage when that happens.
Exactly.
Because like you said, most people just do this as a hobby. They spend much more than they make.
Yeah.
And when you can actually say that you have some income from this, hey, that's something most people never get. So,
Exactly. Yeah. And Molly Daniels is sneaking in at work. Check her out. She's on Amazon. She's got a whole bunch of great books also under her alias. It's Kenzie Michaels, where you get to see the spicy side of Molly Daniels. Molly, we were saying nice things about you earlier. Just let you know. And Plant the Seed. Excellent advice. Right on. And egotism makes you vulnerable to bad actors in the field. That's very true, Carl. That's very true. You should always have your shields up. And in fact, if you want to, if you're not sure about something, I've said this before on other shows. Quick way to find out: write the person or the company's name in a Google search, and then add reviews and look at them. If all the reviews come from their website, run. Or and then actually also do a second search with the name of the company or person, and then scam or complaints.
Yeah.
And between the two of them, you'll get a reasonable picture of most people in the field.
Or controversy.
Controversy is a good
something
one.
I've found to be very helpful.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So nailed it, Carl. Says Sarah. If those quick rich ads worked, everyone would be millionaires. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And what's the saying? Ask Rick Bradley. If you want to be a millionaire from writing, start out with a billionaire. Yeah, I paraphrase it. Yeah, the way I heard it was, you know how to make a small fortune in publishing? You start out with a large fortune. So yeah. And Carl Witzman's another guy who's doing it before print on demand and all the advantages we have now. I've been working on it semi-seriously since the 1980s, and I'm just now getting some traction.
Oh yeah. It's funny, I was watching on loop today the Mike Mignola documentary while I was drawing. And I thought about it. He was talking about like, he failed at Marvel in 1983. Like he was in Marvel enough to fail by 1983. That was over 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And like look where he is now. But
he's an industry unto himself.
But he went through about 20 years of struggle in the business before he actually did Hellboy, and even then Hellboy wasn't a success at the first.
A big one.
And so you got to realize if you can stick it out, that's the key.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors I think that go into this, and one is patience. And another is determination, and also talent and attitude.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'm going to write something about that. This is what you need to really smooth the way for being a creative and a creative business person as well. Let's see. Let's get back to the comments. Sarah says, I have a ton of research going on, and I'm glad you're getting traction too. I love your writing. So do I. Carl's a great, great writer. My publisher just told Dan Oldfield I might have another book coming out this year. The Tom Darby prequel is next in line. Let's see. Keep us posted, Dan. That's great news. And by the way, Rodman, you are looking crispy tonight.
Thank you. Yes. I got a haircut and a beard trim today, so that's why.
He posted a picture he sent me earlier. It's like, GQ is now trying to ring him up, trying to be on the cover and stuff. So, and Sarah is sitting here nodding as if you guys can see me. We understand. And we saw you do that too, Sarah. Cut it out. Yes, we can. We're watching you through your TV set. You have several things to be ashamed of, and I will expect more videos like that in the future.
Also applause.
Yeah. And Sarah will be with me at EclipseCon in April as my assistant.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wish I could come. I wish I could be there.
I wish you could too. That would be so cool. And if and when it appears, yes, excellent, Dan. Thank you, brother. And same here. After 22 years, I think I finally know what I'm doing. I've only been at about 12, and I know less now than when I started. So anyway, and Doc Saga, what's that again? Oh yeah, Rick Bradley's one of the people in the book too.
Yeah, well, Rick's giving me crap for the nebulizer, so we're joining.
He's an equal opportunity offender, so
absolutely.
And there we go. When it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no for Fred Sheldon. Really. And we know where he's been on every engagement. Anyway, I keep saying I'm going to listening mode. It lasts a whole 30 seconds each time. And the darn customers keep coming in at her place of work. Good thing I can watch this tomorrow. That's right. We taste just as good tomorrow. And the flavors have had time to marinate. And Rick Bradley goes, 5 people subscribed. Well, I have 27 on just YouTube. I'll give you over 5 times the exposure that guy would. Yeah, I got an offer from somebody on Instagram said, we guarantee your book will become a bestseller. We guarantee you will get new people signing up for. And I'm like, I want to hear this. This ought to be good. You know? Yeah. And Sarah's loving Rick or killing for the chance to. Wonder which friends I had that made Rodman accept my friend request. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. And it says, I feel you on the lunatics. Yeah. And being a woman in this nutty field, God, probably,
my condolences. Jeez.
Yeah. We ought to bring you onto the show sometime, sweetheart, because it's like, I can only imagine for an attractive woman or any woman, regardless of looks, just going on, and I know it can be a crap show, going through your comments and everything. But there's another idea if we bring on a guest that we could talk about that.
I think that well, let's talk about that more. I think that's not a bad idea. Not every time, but at least maybe every now and then.
Yeah, we'll out some people. How's that sound, Candace?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, and Dawn's the lunatic's backs away slowly.
You and me both.
I can see that Hitch thing with Homer Simpson now. And there we go. It's about time the woke breaker showed up. We've been vamping till you got here. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Wait a minute, Brian. We are the lunatics. Yeah, but they're not our lunatics. That's the problem, Dan. And hail Don Doulas. And everyone's saying hello, hello. And oh man, the Mattoon food place, they proved they could be bought at a price over what they attempt to portray. This was at a show where a very fundamentalist person ran one of the stores, one of the shops in the food court at the show, a paranormal show we were at.
Oh no.
And one guy was handing out Jack T. Chick tracts, here's a comic book saying all the reasons you're burning in hell. And they got to the owners of the mall, and basically we had to leave because they said, well, you guys can set up your show, but you can't have anybody that portrays anything about the supernatural or Satanism. And I'm like, I told the organizer, that's only going to be 3 people in the entire mall filled with vendors, and I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
So anyway, just a lot of people have a price. Yeah, but afterwards, once we started spending money, this guy was like, before we were all going to burn in hell, but after we started spending money, he's like, I hope we have you back again,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I know. I wait till you're sitting down. And Rick Bradley goes, one time I was able to get a bunch of groceries from selling a copy of Marvin's Night Out, and I was excited. I said, I have finally made it as a writer. Mine came when I opened up the box on my, the Santa sign for the first time. And
to hold it in your hands. That's so.
Yeah, and it doesn't get old.
Yes.
I love reorders. Oh, it gets better. I can make a living off of writing my stories and music as long as I can figure out how to live off of $100 a year.
Oh, Dan, man.
What's it like? Like, man? I'm telling you.
So much money.
Back up the Brinks truck, Mr. Rockefeller. Shows true colors what I mean. Just use that as an example. It's a good example, Sarah. And every expert started out a novice. Boy, howdy, 2012. That was me.
Me too.
There were some days I thought I went to bed knowing less than when I got up.
And I'll tell you this:
I studied.
Every expert is still a novice in some area.
Yeah.
So if you enter, this journey, oh goodness, my train of thought just went away. As my brain is taking over. If you enter this journey, knowing that you're constantly going to keep learning. Then you're set. That's good. But the minute you say you think you know everything and you don't need to learn anything else, that's when failure begins.
Yeah, because this is, especially in the publishing creative fields, it's like that old joke about every time you think you figured out the answer, the question keeps changing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Rick Bradley says, I know mental health definitely helps with getting projects done. One thing I hope I get back from the counseling I've begun is the motivation to get those stories written. Dude,
good on you, by the way, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, seriously, man. I'm glad you're getting help. And you know, anytime you need a kick in the butt, you know, I'm glad to send you screaming back into therapy, but for the right reasons.
Me too.
Yeah, there we go. And Sarah says, you guys can be my stalker. See, we got an invitation. Unlike a grandiose narcissist I was with who was eerily like the Purple Man. He liked to paint himself up. Purple is not his color. And Rick, if you could buy groceries with your pay, or like I paid for a vacation from a magazine article, that is the reward.
That's nice.
Definitely. And all these people exposing themselves have a coat like the commission coming back in style. That's why they won't let me near the schools anymore. And it's a wild ride for sure. Candace, it is. But, you know, the thing is, I got a notice. I got to tell this, and only Candace will understand it. I got a notice for, I think it was 7 years ago, at a show in Terre Haute. That it's the only time I've been down to that show, but I got to meet somebody very special at that one. And that's what I thought of when I got that memory. So that's where Candace and I first met. So
that's good. Cool.
It was very cool thought. And Carla, it was only one time from selling books I was able to do that. And Sarah says she colored one of those books too. And see, that would be fun. Candace, we will talk about that. I promise we will. And the first time I was there, I handed one to Ron Fitzgerald. We couldn't stop laughing and enjoying all the dark, sticky fun he had with it. And even one time, Rick, that is a win. Take the win. Yes. And Fear Tactics doing it wrong. Yeah, I mean, people should be warned that there are pitfalls to this, but if you temper your expectations and just take the good stuff as it comes, then you're in good shape. Oh, I did, Carl. I did. And dang, working at the U of I, we were one at the University of Illinois. We were one of the highest research universities. Literal rocket scientists couldn't fill out a one-sided page to get a flu shot. Yeah, seriously. Don Dula says no one knows everything, but everyone knows something. It's when you get a lot of somethings together is when the fantastic things happen. And hello again, my friends. My net has allowed you back on. Oh, Nick, we missed you. We miss you, dude. And mental health, hanging on by a shoestring. Some days, that's all of us.
Same here.
And yeah, mental health is a necessity to maintain these days, definitely. And Dan Holefield says, unfortunately, I had a day job for 46 years, and I knew how to invest in a 401k and pension. Now that I'm officially retired, my wife and I are set for life unless we both live to the age of 170. I just take it one day at a time, Dan. That's that's my thing.
That's all you can do.
Oh, but that was great. That was great. Hey, everybody, thank you for your comments. You're great.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, seriously. And Molly Daniels says, Dan, I'm available for adoption. Just letting you know that, Dan. You know.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I'm starting to lose some steam here, so I think we need to wrap up soon. But
yeah, let's do that. And I know I gotta get my brain in order. I have so many voices, characters that need to get out more every day. Oh, that reminds me of something that's a wise person told me recently. Let's get Sarah. Her employer is offering her a 401k. Excellent.
Hey, nice.
Take advantage of that. Excellent. And madam, you interest me strangely. And that's the way she likes to interest people. It's going to work out between you two. You and Lindsay will enjoy having her around. But and breathing is important, says Sarah. Yeah, we'll wrap this up.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, thank you, everybody. I love that we are having to kind of shut it off, even though the conversation's still going. This show, it was something I wanted to do for a while with Brian, and we talked about it for a year or so, and it took a while because I had to figure out my health routines, as inconsistent as they are. But like, I just thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for being here and being interactive. We really can't. I mean, we could just sit here and talk the whole time and we wouldn't care. That'd be great. But we love having you guys here. It adds so much more to this. And that's why we want to do this show. So thank you guys very much. I think, Brian, next week you want to talk about AI. I feel like that came up a lot tonight.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
That's right. Yeah, next episode, I mean. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Sarah. And we've gone 2 hours. Nick will have a 17-hour show tomorrow. Yeah, right.
Right.
Be sure. And remember, what Nick always is not saying this, but he's always saying, everybody quit typing. So anyway, and Sarah, don't die to talk to all night. Love you, brother. We all love you too. And that's why, I'm kind of, quasi-retired in my broadcasting. And when Brian offered me this opportunity, it's like, we got to do this. this thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carl.
Well, it's
Thanks,
just it's
brother.
fun. There's not a lot of pressure. We're just
Yeah.
showing up and talking, and I love that. So,
and we got topics that people are also chiming in
Yeah.
on and feeling involved, and that I love the fact that you guys are indulging us and bringing up some really, really cool stuff. And I agree. Next time, let's talk about AI. Let's talk about AI.
Yeah. And then after that, maybe we'll have a guest or something. We'll talk.
There we go.
I'm excited.
There we go. Love you too, Nick. Thank you, brother. And yay for the idea of Rodman Rabbit. All right. And thank you all for being here. And see everyone in 2 weeks. Thank you, Donna. Love you, man. And let's do a quick wrap up here. Again, we were brought to you by our Patreon people. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support some of your favorite creators like us. I'm sure somebody likes us. That's right. Keep Brian in inhalers there. It's a great thing.
I need this. Give me my no.
I'm serious. I'm going to give some of mine to him so he can keep breathing. But anyway, we do appreciate everyone who supports us directly with an affordable monthly stipend, and we have rewards for y'all if y'all all check us out. So please go to, you can hit us up like on our websites, like you can get there, risingtide.pub. I'm sure they can get there at brianrodman.com. And also thank you to, and thank you to Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics for making great covers like this that sell the books without me even having to lift my tongue in response. Quiet people. Anyway, he does great covers and all the graphics you need to sell that great book of yours. So check out their Facebook page for some super samples, and then go over to plasmafiregraphics.com and ask about their indie creator friendly pricing. You will be so glad you did. That's Plasma Fire Graphics. The look of your book matters to you because it definitely matters to your readers. And maybe I need Rodman Rabbit picture.
Oh, Lord.
Sticker pin potential. you know you're hitting the big time. Yeah, I got to get a graphic from Damian Waldron in here. He does my closing.
Yeah.
My closing sticker. He gave me stickers for that. He's amazing, and you guys are amazing. Again, thank you all for your participation, and thank you for filling out this half-hour show that we intended to do. We didn't even get to your comments for the first half hour.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be just a hour show, Brian.
Yeah, I'm starting to get that feeling right about now. And Sarah's cheering him on. Oh dear Lord, you're what the Canadians call hosed. Anyway.
I've been hosed. If you watched Comic Book Spectrum last week, you know. So
and I've been hosed down. It was a necessity. Anyway, okay. Thank you, Sarah. And Sarah's getting cut off now. Evidently, she's eating her meds like Pez. Anyway, but we love you, Sarah.
Stay safe, Sarah.
Yeah, please. We love you, Sarah. We love all of you. Thank you all for being here again. And Brian, you want to say a thing or two before we close out?
Absolutely. If you want to find me and my works, go to brianrodman.com. We currently have 8 issues of Memoirs of an Angel. It's it's a horror fantasy sword and sorcery kind of a tale, adapting into a novel that's going to be coming out, cross your fingers, hopefully this summer, on Kickstarter. And also author and illustrator of The Nebulizer, which is, if you have asthma or know anybody, it's a fun Nickelodeon kind of type story about a chronic asthmatic and his feisty AI-controlled nebulizer suit named Albie as they fight across the... My wife's making faces. As they fight across the...
Oh, Robin would never do that.
Yeah.
No more than Cookie would.
Yeah, as they fight through a post-apocalyptic world filled with allergen mutants. It's a lot of fun. It's stupid. There's a lot of monster guts in it. It's great. Also, I put out a free monthly newsletter that is a bit of a long-form meal for everybody. Talk about what I'm up to, talk about a topic that I'm thinking about. It's free. Go to brianrodman.com, scroll down on the homepage and sign up. I'd love to have you join the crowd and interact with me via email. I love having conversations with people who read the newsletter. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you, Brian. This has been a great evening. I've had a lot of fun.
And I'll put, let's see, let's get, nope, I hit the wrong button. There we go. I haven't had a 2-person show in a while. I'm out of practice.
It's been a bit. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, man. Anyway, why isn't Rodman on Indie CD yet? Well, you need to talk to him about him walking away from the keyboard. Yeah, right. And you deserve fun. You do too, Sarah. We love you. We love you, Dawn. We love everybody here. Thank you. And as Brian said, I can be found at risingtide.pub, where you can sign up for my free monthly email insider informational email. And it comes out the first of the month, so please sign yourself up, because we have all kinds of news and advanced information, including our yearly appearances at various shows. And also, we are available on Amazon.com, Books A Million, Walmart.com, BarnesandNoble.com. Any worthwhile bookseller, we have our books there. And check out our latest release, The Terrors. It is the fastest-selling book I have had ever.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoa, yeah. And I'm proud to sing it. We're about 3/4 of the way through the sequel, because it pisses off the bigots. So I'm happy to do that. So anyway, please check out our work on those various platforms. And also, we have a morning show on Monday mornings at 9 a.m., 8 a.m. Central Time. And it's called No Warning, because basically, if I feel like doing it, I don't give you any warning. Please just show up. So anyway, that's it for me. And I think we're on our way out. We'll be back in 2 weeks from now, unless you hear something different. And we thank you all for being here between two Brians. I think we got some things settled. Next time, we'll talk about AI. I'm sure we'll find something to complain about, no doubt.
Sure. Something new will happen, I'm sure, between now and then.
And
if not, we'll just remember things unfondly.
That's right. Yeah, I'm sure we will get 14 days worth of disappointment between now and then. I'm sure we'll find something to complain about. But anyway, we will do it with a smile and with a song in our hearts. Mine is something from some heavy metal band. But anyway,
mine is Let the Bodies Hit the Floor.
I'm loving it. How apt. Anyway, folks, thank you again for being here. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. And as always, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands. That's important. And don't ever apologize for being awesome. Thank you for being here on Between Two Brians. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Let's put that card up. Bye, everyone. Take care and be good.
Nia sex time.